Hello, I am Rhythm Tucker, and we are here with Mr. Inder Bhambra, Chief Business Officer, Envision Energy India. Hello, Mr. Inder.
Hi.
Thank you so much for taking out the time to do this interview with us today. What are the key growth areas that Envision is looking to achieve in the current financial year?
Well, we've been in the country now for a good 7+ years, and we've made sizable progress in terms of, the selling of wind turbines, and we've in fact been market leaders over the past 2 years, and that coincides with our maintaining leadership across the world as well. So the idea is to continue to maintain that leadership position. We've been around 40-45% market share. We'd like to maintain that, but we would also like to bring in new technology. We would like to bring in a larger turbine. At the moment, we are selling the 3.3 megawatt turbine with a 156-meter rotor diameter. We would now like to introduce the 5 megawatt turbine with the 182-meter rotor diameter, which we feel is the most apt turbine configuration for the India market, going by the wind and site conditions. And besides, bringing in the new turbine, we would also like to introduce our state-of-the-art, stationary storage solutions, which are based on lithium-ion batteries. And we would like to launch that soon and try and make a sale within this financial year.
In terms of long-term growth, what are the key areas of business that Envision will be focusing on?
We would like to sort of maintain a position where we are the most preferred partner when it comes for any energy solution that the Indian market is looking at. And we'd like to do that through our state-of-the-art turbines for onshore and offshore technology application. And also, not just the storage solutions that I just spoke of, but also bring in our solutions for producing green gases, starting with ammonia and other derivatives. So we have the technology with us to produce these gases through electrolyzers and synthesizers designed and manufactured by us. But we would bring in a much larger gamut of service to give fruition to such projects in India, where we would like to partner with our customers beyond just being an equipment supplier.
For these expansion plans, does Envision require, and if they are, do you have the plan to secure the required resources for these growth targets?
Yeah, sure. Today, we are already at a number of 2,000 employees, not all direct. About 200 plus are direct employees, and the balance are on contract. And these are largely at our plants and some at the project sites. And the plants at the moment are in Pune, where we make the nacelle and hub, and one in Trichy, where we make the blades. But considering the growth plans, we may potentially have to expand our manufacturing presence in the country. So at that point in time, we may go in for additional locations for manufacturing of nacelles and hub, and as well as for blades. So we would definitely look at the most ideal, most suitable location in a state which offers us the best facilities and support system for doing this. And also we'll have to look at it more from geographic point of view, where we'll need to be as central to the wind market as possible, which is the west and the south. So somewhere in the south, in the midwestern areas, where we would probably want to grow our manufacturing setup.
What does, in your opinion, India requires to fast track its energy transition journey?
Well, I think India has made great moves over the past decade or so. There have been actions even before, but over the past 10 years, the government has realized the urgency to, grow the green energy space. And I think the targets and mandates which have been put by the government are ambitious, but it has also been taking actions to sort of promote the industry to achieve those kind of targets. So we would expect the administration or the government to continue making those supports. There are certain specific areas where I think that there needs to be faster action, and these are not new. These have been perennial issues, and this is especially when it comes to wind, more so as compared to solar, that the power evacuation system needs to really be strengthened. We need to augment the national grid, and we need to have the provision to evacuate power from locations which are rich in resource of wind. And so unlike solar, you have very niche areas where you can deploy or install the wind turbines. So in those areas, the grid augmentation is really critical. The authorities have come up with the right locations and the right capacities, but the whole process of auctioning these well before the investor wants to set up the project are really the need of the hour. And also the second point is that these evacuation points need to be of a limited capacity. If you restrict them to, let's say, 2 gigawatt and you have spread them over a larger area, then there would be lesser concentration of the projects and lesser pressure on acquiring land in a particular location, and that will simplify the process of land acquisition as well. So these two are very clearly the most critical areas for the Indian government to work on. And in terms of the setting up of the storage solutions, while at the moment there are multiple auctions which are coming up, and these include standalone storage projects connected to the grid, and also in together with wind and solar, when it's called a hybrid project or an FDRE project, which is Firm and Dispatchable Renewable Energy Project. So there are right actions being taken to sort of promote storage industry, but I think this is just the beginning. The next step needs to be more about not just the peak shift of energy, which is what the current applications are catering to, but also managing the frequency, because I think the grid is going to get more and more unstable because of the intermittent nature of both wind and solar. And those are the two areas which are really going to add the future power to the grid. To sort of balance that, we need to really have a strong enough storage capacity, which we call it like a sump. You need to have a big sump to absorb the additional energy and pump it back when required. And by virtue of doing that, they can actually control a lot of frequency-related issues. And broadly, it is called grid forming. And grid forming is one aspect that the country has to be focusing on. The challenge that we're seeing is that in the western part of the world, grid forming is already being worked on, and there are very lucrative commercial models to incentivize the investment in that area. In India, the biggest challenge is that we really don't have a revenue model per se. We don't know who the sponsor would be, because most of the grid owners, which are state owned, are not in a great financial condition. So who picks the cost, but that needs to be decided, and then we need to bring in these projects which would help modulate the frequency or do the grid forming. So these are the 2-3 critical areas that we need to work on. And just one more thing I would like to say is that green molecule is another area which is of great interest, not only in India, but globally. And in order to promote that, you need to make the energy which produces that green molecule more affordable. And at the prevailing prices of setting up this whole infrastructure of a plant which produces those gases and the whole energy generation system, there are gaps commercially. If you have to compete with a green molecule, let's say produced in China or some other part of the world, you need to make it more commercially attractive. And in order to do that, I think government has taken already good actions. They have recently announced that if this green molecule is produced in an EOU, there will not be a need to there'll be exemptions on duty for the equipment which produce the gas, and there will be lesser criteria, lesser requirements for let's say getting clearances from the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy to certify and allowing the equipment. So I think both these are actions in the right direction, but there could be more that would be required. There could be even the states will need to contribute in terms of exempting whatever taxes that they were. So we need all of these together to really give the impetus which is required for producing green molecule in the country.
Finally, I just want to ask, what are you most excited or what are you most expecting from the ET Energy Leadership event upcoming soon?
Well, I think ET is a huge brand. It's one of the most respected, media brands in the country, and it's not for now, but for quite some time. So our expectation is that this event needs to be bigger and larger as compared to any other. It has to obviously serve the purpose of being a platform where the industry stakeholders get together, which includes the technology providers, the investors, the banking industry, various authorities which are involved in helping the energy sector grow. So we would want the right participants to really be around for those 2 days, so that the right level of brainstorming happens and we come up with really revolutionary ideas of how we take this further from here.
That was all the questions I had for you today. Thank you so much, Mr. Inder.